Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to Brock Talk Episode 1. This is going to be a podcast. I've really liked podcasts, and I've wanted to do one for this channel for a little bit, and I couldn't quite decide how I want to do it, what I wanted to do it, and now I've just decided to kind of do it and have a couple topics lined up for a couple episodes. We'll see how it goes. Thanks to my friend Mason for giving me the name Brock Talk. I was stuck between that and Big Hat Radio. It doesn't have to be permanent though. I decided to go with Brock Talk, but it could just as easily be Big Hat Radio. We'll see if anybody decides to comment about that or what they say. If you like it, let me know if you like it. I had this big intro planned. It's going to be, this podcast is going to be kind of like my channel, like books and video game related, and we'll see where else it goes. But I'm just gonna get right into it. One thing, I do like podcasts, but sometimes it's annoying when people take a while to get to the main topic. So here, I'm just gonna get right to it, and we'll kind of go as she goes. Play it by ear, if you will. I really want to talk about the games I have played this year. It's June. We're halfway through the year. Time really flies, and I decided to just be like, I just want to talk about the games I played. Maybe you've played these games, or you'd like to hear about these games. Again, always leave comments if you like any of these games or are interested in these games. We're going to start in January. I'm going to go from January to June and talk about each games I've been playing since then. And going back, kind of retracing my steps, I was like, I like playing video games. I love playing video games, but I was like, I've played a lot of games this year so far, and we're only halfway through. So let's just get into it. I got my notes over here. Let's see. Yeah, so in January, I actually bought this game like New Year's Day, after a few hours after the clock struck midnight and we were in the new year. I bought this game. I bought Telltale's The Wolf Among Us, not to be confused with the hit 2018 game Among Us. No, this is Telltale's The Wolf Among Us. I got this game because I saw the trailer for The Wolf Among Us 2, and I was like, that looks really good. I got to play the first one. I'd actually never played the first one. I really wasn't interested in the first one, or I knew nothing about it pretty much. But after seeing the trailer, I was interested. Also kind of learning more about how the Telltale games work. I was like, this will be fun. I also, my plan was also to maybe play it during New Year's as like a game we could play during the party, because it's decision making and that can be fun. Didn't go through that with like that. My friend and I, we did play it shortly before he left though, and we had a good time with some fun jokes. But I gotta say, The Wolf Among Us, I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I thought Bigby was a great character. I loved all the dialogue choices and where the story went. And now the game's pretty old, so I'm gonna say some spoilers. Every time Bigby started to turn into the big bad wolf, I was like, this is pretty sick, especially at the end when he goes full wolf form. Man, that was really fun. Everything with Snow White, all of that. If you've never played this game, I'm just speaking complete nonsense, but I'm not gonna go through the effort of explaining the whole game. But yeah, I love the murder mystery aspect of it, and I was really excited to play it, and I loved it. I've absolutely loved it. And I haven't looked too much into this, but I think something happened with Telltale that they weren't. They actually had to go back on hiatus or something, so we're gonna have to wait a little while longer for Wolf Among Us 2. But man, I love The Wolf Among Us. I thought it was really fun, and yeah, I recommend it if you like Telltale games. Never played it? Yeah, go back and play it. All right, moving on to February. February was kind of didn't quite get much done gaming-wise in February. I tried to play a couple games. None of them quite stuck. I tried to play a game called Ion Fury. That's kind of like a throwback first-person shooter game. There's a sequel coming out, or may have even already came out, called Phantom Fury. And again, the trailer for Phantom Fury, similar to like a Wolf Among Us, I saw the trailer for Phantom Fury, and I was like, that looks really good. That looks like a game I'd play on like the original Xbox or something like that, and I had some nostalgia for that, so I was like, okay. And I'm a big I try my best if possible to play the first game of the series to catch up to where we are now. I don't like to just jump into a series with no context. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can play Ion Fury, but it didn't quite stick. It wasn't. It's not a bad game, but I was kind of burnt out. I had been playing a lot of shooters like that. I was playing through like the Doom games. I played through Quake. There was another one I can't remember, but yeah, I was just a little burnt out on that. So that kind of fizzled out. I tried to play Black Mesa, which is the HD remaster remake, whatever it is called, for Half-Life. I'm a big fan of the Half-Life series, and they did the whole thing. I know when Black Mesa first came out, it was just like the first half of the game, and then they finished the second half of the game a little while ago, and apparently it looks great. It looks really cool, and I was like, I can play this, and again, it just kind of burnt out. I wasn't bad, it wasn't bad. I just thought like, I don't know. I think like I've just played through the first Half-Life so many times and the other Half-Life games that I was just like, maybe I was just kind of a little burnt out on it. And hopeful to go back because people seem to really like Black Mesa, but I just couldn't quite get into it. The final game I tried to play in February was Amnesia Rebirth. This is the third game in the Amnesia series, and I had replayed Amnesia: The Dark Descent last year, and I loved it. Like, I forgot how good it was. I know it kind of helped push and spawn the controversial walking simulator genre, but dude, I think Amnesia is a great horror game, a good puzzle game, just a great atmosphere. Everything about it was great, and so I was like, I want to play these games because there was also Amnesia: The Bunker, which recently just came out. We'll get back to that later, but they were on sale for pretty cheap, so I just got them, and I was like, I'm going to play these. Played the first Amnesia. Second Amnesia is still, it's good. It's not as good as the first one, but I have an appreciation for it now. Not as much as I had the first time, but I like it. And then I think I was just burnt out on the franchise, and Amnesia Rebirth was very different from the others, which is good, but I just wasn't feeling it. I played it for like 10 minutes, didn't play it again. Decided to cut my losses and move on. So didn't really beat a game during February. Was kind of playing a mix of like Fortnite, and we had a little bit of Fall Guys and maybe League of Legends. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I played League of Legends, but yeah, so that was February. Now we get to March, my birthday month. I wasn't sure what I was going to play, and Matt McMuscles on YouTube, he does a series called What Happened. He picks a game or a movie or popular pop culture thing. Usually a big failure, but sometimes he picks a success. It just goes through the whole process of how this was created, and he picked Conker's Bad Fur Day. And this is a game from my childhood. I absolutely love this game. We played it, my brother and we played it at our friend's house on the Nintendo 64, and we had a lot of fun playing it. And I think it was something like our mom got it for us, but she didn't know that it was like rated M for mature. She just thought like we were having fun, and there's a little like squirrel guy on the front. Like, how bad could it be? Not knowing that it was rated M for mature, and there's a lot of like just endless amounts of crude humor and sexual innuendos and whatnot. But I played this. After he made that video, I was like, I want to replay Conker's Bad Fur Day. It's on the Rare Replay. Rare Replay is on Game Pass, and man, it was so much fun. Even with the controls being a little janky, man, I really loved that game, and I was happy to replay it. There's a few frustrating parts, like the very ending boss fight is a bit of a pain. There's a part where you're like swimming underwater and there's an electric eel. That part is annoying. But yeah, that was really fun to go back and play that game from my childhood. And yeah, I recommend that. Anybody who's looking for a nice throwback N64 game. Also the Matt McMuscles video, What Happened, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Great video. Oh, and speaking of annoying parts in Conker's Bad Fur Day, there's a part where, again, if you never played the game is nonsense anyway. The whole thing is a bit of a fever dream. But there's a part in Conker's Bad Fur Day where Conker gets like drafted into this war. These chipmunks versus like evil teddy bears. And there's a part where the facility is blowing up at the end and you're trying to escape. And the very part of the mission, you're running down this beach, and these teddy bears have rocket launchers, and they have auto aim, and if they hit you once, you blow up. You might get lucky sometimes, and it leaves you with 1 health. But dude, that was like the best AI I've ever seen. Like, they do not miss. So I was able to kind of get through that after multiple tries. That was the most frustrating part of the game. Yeah, definitely an unfair upset me, but I made it through. But yeah, Conker's Bad Fur Day, filled with references to pop culture stuff. I always like to see that. And yeah, it was just a really fun game. So into April, I decided to. I was like, I've never played Telltale's The Walking Dead. I've heard that's pretty good. I started playing this in late March because I had beaten Conker's Bad Fur Day near the end of March, and so I was like, yeah, let's play Telltale's The Walking Dead. I'd actually never been spoiled on the ending, and I was playing it, and I asked a friend about it, and he spoiled the ending. So that was kind of annoying, but it was still a great game. Telltale. I've only played 2 Telltale games, this and The Wolf Among Us, but both of those are great. I thought Lee was a great character. All the characters that you meet in that game are really they're characters. What else can you say? I don't know. I'm suddenly losing all my ability to describe the game, but it was really sad too, especially the part. Well, now I'm gonna spoil stuff, I guess. I don't know. Should I do it? I don't know. Just play it. It's sad. It's a tough play, but worth it. One thing I forgot to mention: The Wolf Among Us. I didn't know this, but it's actually a comic series called Fables, and I bought the first 2 volumes of Fables, and it was not very good. It's kind of a different take slightly on the universe. Some of the characters aren't the same as they are in the game. Well, I guess you reverse that, but I just thought the game was such a better version. So I was like, oh, there's a comic, and then I was like, it's not that great. But Walking Dead though, Telltale's The Walking Dead. It was really fun. One part that was annoying though is near the end when Lee, I guess a spoiler here, but when Lee has to like fight through the zombies, he has like a piece of glass and something else, and you have to like just hit zombies going through, and if you miss one, you die, and you have to like restart the whole thing. That was a little annoying. But other than that, I thought it was good. All the stuff on the farm with the brothers and the mom were good, and yeah, it was just good stuff. Telltale just doesn't miss. I even played the Telltale Walking Dead 100 Days, 400 Days. I can never remember what it's called. It's something like that, 800 Days. And I was really cool too. I really liked the first sequence I played was the 3 prisoners on like the prison bus. And that one was my favorite. I love the tension of like them on the bus and then like the zombies showing up. You have to decide whose foot you want to shoot off to escape. And I really like that. One of them, I can't remember the kid's name, but one of them is a kid who's like walking along the road and then gets picked up by a stranger. And there was a funny glitch where there was like a mile marker, and when the kid got in the truck and drove away, the mile marker just moved with the truck. So that was kind of funny to see. But yeah, I really love The Walking Dead, and I really love okay, I kind of remember. One thing I like about the Telltale games is that it doesn't really feel like there are good and there are bad choices, so to speak, but it's not like a light side run or a dark side run in like a Star Wars game, or I'm going to do the good run to get the good ending then the bad ending. Like, I think I tried to stay consistent in the games, but it really feels like they let you pick whatever choices you want, and there's choices will like it'll all make sense and it'll all work well together, regardless of like if you stay consistent or if you lie or if you do all this. So I think that's really cool that there's like flexibility, if you will. All right, when I was done, well, I kind of played these in between. This is a new game. This is actually a game that came out this year. I played an indie game called Dredge, and Dredge is like a fishing game that turns into a horror game. Like you're essentially take control of a boat and you're just fishing, and then there's like sea monsters and stuff, and at nighttime creepy things happen. And it was the highest selling indie game on Steam, and then it became the highest selling game on Steam in general. And this was just a great experience. I love the atmosphere of like the ocean and the different islands and the different creatures you find. It's also very, H.P. Lovecraft inspired, which I quite like that. And it was just a solid experience the whole way through. The ending, part of the ending was kind of predictable because it's very like, oh yeah, that's like, there's like three endings that like H.P. Lovecraft, he wrote all these books. There's probably like three endings. Like they all share at least one of these three endings. And it was one of those, but that didn't take away from it. I still really liked it, and I didn't finish like the almanac, like fishing for all the fish and stuff, but that seems like a relaxing thing to do. And there's DLC eventually coming out for the game. I'm definitely want to pick that up, try and play that. But yeah, I recommend Dredge if you're looking for a nice little indie game to play. And yeah, that was really fun. The characters are cool too. Oh, and I loved the like the Stellar Basin with like the big Kraken monster in there too. Like that was really cool. And all the stuff like the ghost shark that attacks you. Good stuff. So yeah, so far like now that I've kind of looked back on this, like I've yet to really like play a bad game. Like some of those other games kind of just fizzled out, but these ones I'm like, well boy, this has been a good year for gaming. I mean, to be fair, I've only played a few games that came out this year, but we'll get back to that. We're kind of getting off track a little bit. And then we played a very small game called Cave Crawler. This is also a new game. It only cost like $2. I got it for like $1.77, or they had some weird sale going on. And now that I say this, Cave Crawler. Now that I say I haven't played a bad game, I shouldn't say Cave Crawler is bad. It just wasn't as good as I thought it could be. Like there was a good atmosphere. Essentially, Cave Crawler, you take control of what do you call it? A drone. I don't know, like a drone that goes into a cave, and you're just looking in the cave, and then you find a dead body, and it goes from there. It's only like 30 or 40 minutes long, and it had good atmosphere, but there was no build up. Like I felt like we find the dead body and then we jump right into hell essentially. Like there's all this weird stuff happening. There's weird stuff growing out of the ground. And it was inspired by like, it's very like analog horror. That's something that's kind of blowing up now. And there's a YouTube video called like Advanced Mining Droid that, I thought was very inspired by, that inspired Cave Crawler. And I thought that video was way better. Whereas Cave Crawler was kind of like, I don't know, it didn't do enough for me. Like, I don't mind simplistic games. Like, my friend and I, we were comparing it to Iron Lung, which I quite liked Iron Lung. And that's, simplistic and, kind of like small in scale. But that one, again, I think that one just had better build up, better atmosphere, and it's just better. Where this one, like I can't be too upset because it was only like $1.70. But I was a little disappointed by, I was like, ooh, this is a simple concept. Like maybe they can do something more with it. And it, I don't know, just never quite went as far as I'd like. So yeah, that was Cave Crawler. All right, now we got to May. We're getting pretty close to where we are now. I did want to get into what games I'm currently playing. And then if I have time, I'll talk quickly about games I'm planning on playing or I would really like to play in the future. I won't name every single game because there's like a ton of them, but the ones I kind of have my sights set on now. But we're in May. I got to play A Way Out with my friend, and I was spoiled on the ending of A Way Out. I'd never seen it, and I didn't know. I knew like a certain thing happened, but I didn't know exactly how it happened or what that looked like. And A Way Out was really fun. It looked cool. I was surprised though that like you're in a prison at the start, and I thought a majority of the game would be getting out of the prison, but that's just like the first act. But yeah, my friend and I, we played A Way Out. Super fun. I loved the characters Leo and Vincent. Heartbreaking ending, and for those who have played the game, I'll share that I was actually winning at the end, and then I lost, which kind of upsets me right now still. And I talked to my friend the day after. This was like the very final prompt. He beat me, and he talked to me like you have to like mash Y at the end, and we were talking about it the day after, and he goes, "Yeah, I broke my controller mashing Y to beat you in that," and I was like, this guy," but it was still fun. It was a great time. I'm really glad we played it. That was on Game Pass, so yeah, A Way Out, great co-op game, and a lot of fun. Okay, and then here's a fun one. Well, they've all been pretty fun. I was just randomly scrolling through Game Pass, and I saw a game called, now I don't know if this is how you pronounce it, but I call it Signales. It came out last year, and I kind of just checked it out because I thought the girl on the front looked pretty cool. It's sort of a throwback, like Resident Evil, Silent Hill inspired game, survival horror game set in the future, and it was really good. It was very trippy, very creepy. I liked the combat and the enemies, and all the puzzles are like throwback, like kind of convoluted puzzles. You have to use a lot of brain power. I say a lot, but there's some where I had to write down codes or take pictures of my TV to remember how to figure this out later. But it was really cool. It looked cool. It was fun. Very trippy, very surreal. If you're into that, I recommend it. The only thing I was a little upset by was, so spoiler here, but there's no like, I thought there was going to be like a big final boss fight. You know, that's usually how those Resident Evil style games go, or survival horror games goes. You're like, well, don't use all your big ammunition now. You want to save it because there's a big, monster at the end you have to fight. So I was like, we're going to fight this big monster. We're going to fight this big monster. And then the ending of the game happened, and I went, well, it would have been cool to have a cool boss fight at the end. But essentially, I think in hindsight, what they want you to do is to save your ammunition, and then near the end, they throw like a lot of enemies at you. And I think they want you to just mow them down. Use your ammo there. So yeah, that was the only disappointing thing really, was that there was no final boss fight. And the ending makes no sense, but that's, I don't know, I guess part of the fun of it. And it looked cool. It was very, very creepy. The opening, just the menu screen, gives me the chills just thinking about it. I thought it was a really good thing, a really good game, and it was only made by like 2 or 3 people. So congrats to them. And yeah, I highly recommend Signales. It's still on Game Pass now, or if you want to get it on Steam. So yeah, great game. Good to see a good survival horror game like that. It's kind of like top-down perspective, and there's like options to make it look like an older game. So all of that, I thought all of that was really fun. And then we get to the Outlast Trials, which is the 4th game in the Outlast saga, I guess. I don't think it's like Outlast 4. I think it's supposed to be a prequel. And my friends and we've been playing through that. It's a 4-player co-op game. And my friend Deji, that's DEHG, has been streaming it on Twitch. So you can go check that out if you want to see us on there. And I still like it, but it had a very hot start. Like, I was really into it. I thought the whole thing was cool. And now it's a little stagnant. And I mean, it's kind of early access. So like, we're just waiting for them to add a few more things. But right now I'm not, like, I still like it, but I'm not as into it as I was at the start. It's, my friend Darren made a good point of kind of like, it's just kind of like one note, just sort of the same thing over and over again, or a variation of that same thing. But I'm excited to see where it goes. Also, I have to applaud, like, that it works. We kind of live in this broken game era where, games come out and are really busted. We have to wait a while for them to update them. But I really haven't had any problems with it. But I love arm wrestling people on the tables in the lobby right before the mission, or before the mission starts, or before you're, where you're waiting for people to start the mission. Just doing that arm wrestling, like, that's really fun. And customizing my room, I had a surprising amount of fun with that in that game. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do next. And I'm excited to see where the game goes, and hopefully we can keep going with that. And I think, yeah, so that's all the games. I've missed a few. I think I started playing Devil May Cry, but I didn't keep up with that. But that's just about all the games I can think of that I've played so far this year. Now we're in June, and I'm gonna start talking about the games I'm currently playing. The first one we got here, we have Rayman 3, Hoodlum Havoc. This is a game from my childhood it was on the PlayStation 2. I just got it on Xbox. It's the HD version, and I never beat it as a kid. And after playing Conker's Bad Fur Day, I kind of was like, it reminded me of Rayman and that kind of like platforming and fun puzzle solving, cartoony kind of worlds. And I was like, I should go back and play Rayman. I had a $10 gift card. The game was $10, so there you go. It's can't pass that up. And I've been having a lot of fun playing through that. Haven't beat it yet, but that's been pretty fun. The same friend that I played It Takes Two, or excuse me, that I just spoiled that, I guess. But my friend, after we played A Way Out, we should definitely check out It Takes Two. And I think I like A Way Out more, but It Takes Two has been really fun so far, and a really beautiful game. Really fun game. If you have a friend that you're able to play it with, like, definitely give it a try. And I've also been playing the Resident Evil remake, like the first Resident Evil that this came out a number of years ago. That's kind of just been a fun thing to play while like I'm in the party with friends and they're playing something else. Now here's a controversial one, but I have been this is on PC Game Pass. I have been playing Death Stranding. Yes, the very controversial 2019 Hideo Kojima game, Death Stranding. Maybe not controversial, but divisive is a better word to put it. I tried watching a playthrough for this game in 2020, and I was like, this game is dumb. Delivering packages is dumb. The world is dumb. It doesn't make any sense. There's some cool stuff, but every time something cool happens, something dumb happens to ruin it. So I just didn't think of it again. And then there was a trailer for the director's cut of the game, which is kind of weird that there's a director's cut. Like, it's like Hideo Kojima's company. So, like, I feel like if anyone was going to cut it out, it would be his final word. So how is there a director's cut? But whatever, right? I watched the trailer for that, and I saw some of the stuff in there, and I was like, is this stuff, like, really in the game? Like, is this the same game? Like, what is this? I know, and so I downloaded Death Stranding. Now, it's not the director's cut, but I think they're somewhat similar, or, like, the parts that I saw are in the game, and I'm going to be honest, I've been loving it. It's very long, but I think Norman Reedus as Sam Bridges, like, he's great. He's just keeping it 100 the whole time. Guillermo del Toro is great in there too. I really like the world, and it's one thing that it's too bad that people don't pay attention to. It's a beautiful game, and in a way, like a technical marvel, I think. Regardless of what you think of, like, the story, I think it's really cool, and I'm really digging it right now. One thing also that is kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? This game gets labeled as a walking simulator, which, like, it's hard. This is a hard thing to talk about or argue per se, because they do give you a gun at one point. You do get a gun, and there are these ghost creatures called BTs, and you can fight them and shoot them. They turn into, like, one of them turns into, like, a giant whale with, like, a big squid face. That's pretty scary. And then they'll turn into different stuff. So you get to shoot them, and you get attacked by other people trying to steal your cargo, and again, you can shoot them. And so now it is kind of like there is heavy walking simulator parts, but eventually they do give you weapons more than just, like, stuff to get away. So I'm just wondering, like, is it fair to say it's a walking simulator even though you can do all this stuff? But I can understand why someone would think that. But right now, I'm happy I went back and gave Death Stranding another try, and right now I'm excited for Death Stranding 2 as well. Unless the ending of Death Stranding is dumb, and then I'll be like, maybe I won't deal with this. But yeah, there you go. That's pretty much all the games I've played this year, or I've been trying to play. I'm sure there's one or two in there that have slipped my mind. But yeah, there we go. Let me know if you played any of these games, or what do you think of any of these games. I'm gonna go ahead and do the games I want to play. We'll just go through here quickly. One game, the first game I have written down here is Diablo 4. This just came out. I wasn't sure about this game. People were saying it was good, but I'm like, it's Blizzard. Come on now. And I didn't get to play the beta, but that looked pretty cool. But I'm like, okay, like let's just wait and see. And it came out, and people are going nuts. People are buying it and going crazy. And I'm like, this looks good, but I think I might give it a try. I won't play it right away because it's like $70, so I might try to see if it goes on sale or something. But that's one I'm kind of keeping in mind. Not like the first game I would play if given the chance, but one I'll admit I'm looking forward to, or I do want to give a try. Later this year in October, we're going to get Alan Wake 2, the highly anticipated sequel to Alan Wake. We're finally getting a sequel. I'm so excited for that. The trailer looks amazing. I hope it lives up to the hype and to how good that trailer looked. Let's see, what do we have here? We have the Alone in the Dark. I'm not sure if this is like a remake or a reboot or what to call it. But they released a demo. It was a fun demo. It was only like 10 minutes, but I liked the atmosphere and the vibe I got from it. I've never played Alone in the Dark before. I've seen the original Alone in the Dark, which I know it's old, but it looks pretty goofy. But this game looks pretty cool. I think we got David Harbour in there, so yeah, that's cool. Hopefully that's a good horror game, and we can talk about how good that is. What else is here? We got the Dead Space remake. I love the first Dead Space. And yeah, why wouldn't I? People say that the remake is better than the original, so I'm like, wow, that's high praises. So I'd like to get my 2 cents on that. And then remaking it, Resident Evil 4 remake. I played the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake. Those are both really great. So have to assume that this one will be good. And it got really good reviews, and I was really worried because Resident Evil 4, the original, is my favorite, which I really like that game. So. Hopefully this one lives up to that. And keeping with Resident Evil, I bought Resident Evil Code Veronica. That was on sale for like $2. I want to give that a try. I like to play that one. People say that one's important. Oh, and coming back to this, we have Amnesia: The Bunker. It's on Game Pass. So yeah, might as well give that a try. I know I said before I like to try to play the games, like all the games in the franchise if I like it, or to understand the whole thing, but Amnesia is kind of like each one is its own. It's kind of like an anthology in a way, so I can just go right to Amnesia: The Bunker, and maybe I'll go back to Rebirth. But yeah, so that's pretty exciting. That just came out recently. We have Planet of Lana. That's also on Game Pass. That's a newer game. I don't know much about it, but it looks like a fun side-scrolling game. So, and hey, it's on Game Pass and it's newer, so I might as well give it a try. We have Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. I'm a fan of the Avatar franchise. I don't know if they released more, but I remember they released an Avatar game for Xbox 360, and that was okay, but didn't do enough for me to love it. But I think this new one looks cool. We'll see how it is when we get closer. That's not until like December, but that's one I've had in my mind. We have Bolt Gun, Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun. This is another kind of throwback shooter, but in the world of Warhammer 40k, which I'm a fan of that world, and the game got good reviews, and looks like something I think would be really fun to play. I like the Bolt Gun games, and it reminds me that I didn't write one game down, but that's Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which I loved the first Space Marine, and now we're finally getting a sequel to that. So that's pretty hype. We're getting some good games coming out, like, finally getting the sequels I think we deserve. And the last one we have here, I kind of just wrote it down because it's topical, but Starfield will be coming to Xbox Game Pass. I'm kind of looking at that one with the glass half empty, like, big chance, big bust potential, big chance of being the next kind of Cyberpunk in terms of, like, well, maybe not Cyberpunk, there's been other examples since then, but the game that has a lot of hype comes out broken as all things can be, and we just have to wait 3 years for them to update it, and people go, yeah, you know what, this is actually an amazing game. But yeah, so that's all. Thanks to everybody for tuning into this podcast. I've got other topics I'd like to talk about. If there's any gaming or book related topics you'd want me to talk about on here, let me know. But yeah, this has been Brock Talk, episode 1, just halfway through the year video game recap. I'd love to come back at the end of the year and talk about the games I've played since this recording. And yeah, and if there's any games you want to recommend to me, just let me know. I'll put them on the back burner of the other 100 games that I need to play. And there we go. I hope everyone has a good rest of their day, a good night, a good whatever time it is you are, and yeah, gotta be gaming. I'll catch you in the next one. We'll see you guys next time.